If I go here, for example, like that, delete that over here. I want to create a copy like that. And if I do the copy like that, for example, I can just do one thing. I can even drag it. When I drag like this, for example, what happens? It will increment that over here and show me 25 automatically here. So when you have, for example, the data set available, which contains, for example, I can work on the data set. For example, if I try 2024 like that, for example, and try to drag it down, what will happen? It will just create a copy like that. The same way, if I try to apply, for example, and try the copy like that, for example, like this, it has a copy again. If I try north, for example, it has a copy again, as we can see in this case. It's got a copy again. But if I try, for example, April, for example, like that, and try to drag it down, I get the update available there. Same as if I try, for example, the weekdays, I get the update available there. Same as if I try the quarters here, for example, like that, I get the automatic update available, and that will change after 4, start 1 again, change that 4, start 1 again. So you can notice that the date features are incrementable. The date features can be incremented. Okay, so we see this over here. By default, when we work in Excel, for example, then what happens? In Excel, if I try to work, I mentioned that already to you, that if I try to work on the data, which is, for example, north, and I try to drag it, it'll just do a copy in this case. I say 25, it's a copy only in this case, and so on. But when I have the alphanumeric combination like that, for example, so if I say year over here, year is a alphanumeric combination over here, so I can try like this. And if I drag this now, it becomes a change in this case. So even if I say, for example, this also will become a change like that, because alpha numeric combination is always changeable as far as the number is concerned. That is the way it works, which is why I'm able to easily assign that number over here. So if I just drag it over here, when I know it's alphanumeric, I don't have to copy paste and change that to 25 in that case. I can simply go there and drag it across and get 25 directly in this case. I can then try to apply, for example, the formula over here. I want 30% up. I want 30% up in that case, so I can say equal to this cell multiply by 1.3, that is 30% up on that case, and that is 30% up right now. This is the way we can see. That's what I can see. So I got my formula over here. Please try this now. That's how we can see that. Now, if I make a mistake here, for example, how do I identify the mistakes in my data? And that can be a large data available. To find out the mistake and identify the mistake can be a big time, can be a fairly big time in that case, which is difficult for me and even for that matter to organize the data. So primary job, as I mentioned earlier, is to organize the data in that case. I wish to organize the data. I wish to check my data that my data is fine, for example. If I'm the MIS person, for example, I need to make sure that my data is good, intact, and really complete to the respect of my periods. Whatever period I have to collect the data for what, I must ensure that my data is complete to the period I want it to be there. That is my job. Only if I have my complete data with me can I proceed further for my presentation purpose, reporting purpose, and so on. So my first part is to ensure that my data is good. To ensure that my data is good. And for that purpose, I need to see some mistakes in the data, find out if the mistakes are there or not. Is there a system available in Excel by which I can find out, does my data contain mistakes or not? Are my dates in proper order or not? How can I find these options? So there are some methods available by which you can identify what data is having mistake, what data is not having mistake. For example, over the data, which is, for example, 10,000 rows, I might like to scroll down and find out if everything is fine. There are 2-3 ways. For example, if there's a mistake over here, as a chance, and that's a mistake over here, there's some kind of a VLOOKUP over here, which is making a mistake, and they tried some VLOOKUP over here, for example, worked on the data set available, maybe tried some VLOOKUP somewhere else, for example, and the ultimate answer is not clear. Suppose there's a mistake here, and a mistake here also. Okay, but the data is like 10,000 rows. And when I scroll down the data, I can't see the mistakes available there. Is there a way I can find out the mistakes in that case? A typical way, a proper way to find the mistakes. If I try to apply this over here, for example, the sum, Alt equal to we know is a sum function. Alt equal to is a sum function. If we don't know it, we know it now at least. So if I go here and try alt equal to, it picks up the data from the top and gives me the data like that and stops at the mistake. So I'll immediately come to know that my data is not complete. But just in case the data has been applied earlier, the sum has been applied earlier and the mistake happens later. How will I then detect it? Because 10,000 rows, two mistakes in the 10,000 rows is not really detectable. I can't really guess that there can be a mistake in the data. Two values gone somewhere, could be zero values also. There can be a chance like that. So in that case, I can't really identify that. Therefore, suppose it was a complete data shift over here. Then I press enter. It can be identified that there's a mistake over there. But then there can be another problem. There can be some guidelines available with the people that in case you find a mistake over there, give us the balance sum available there. Give us the balance sum available there. That can be the requirement, for example. How is that possible? If I try the function called aggregate, for example, apply function sum, comma, ignore the errors, comma, pick up the data, and the sum appears right, I can miss out the mistake now. Because somebody's been smart over there, ignoring the mistakes. It is just been shown to me as a final answer over there. I will never be able to find out if this big value contains some error also or not. But there are some errors over here. Understood? So in such cases, I can at least write my sum function. But sum function, people can try to play a role on that as well and try to give the aggregate. Let's see what is aggregate. Let me show you that once again. So aggregate is something like that. In case you now want to try that, please try that. That's the way aggregate can work. Aggregate works like this. I apply aggregate over here. Try to pick up the sum. Please try that with me. Apply some errors also. First of all, please apply the errors over here so that we can work on the errors hereafter. We got to work on the errors hereafter. So please apply some errors over here. Please do it. Do a copy here also and a copy here also. Please try that. Once we find the errors over here that has been done over here, for example, a simple mistake is applied like that. Imagine we are trying to apply the mistakes over here. We're trying to commit the mistakes over here just to examine how to find out the mistake in the sheet, for example, because we are first supposed to collect the data correctly and correct the data also. Collect the data and correct the data. That's what I'm trying to say. So let's try that. So in case somebody tries to apply the sum function here, the error will appear automatically in this case. So I'll find the error in that case. But somebody can play smart also and try to show the aggregate function over here. The first part of the aggregate function is a sum function. Second part is the detection of the error. What do you want to ignore in that case? Number 6 is ignore error. And then last part is the range of the values to be summed in that case. So this will ignore the errors in that case. I'll never come to know there are some errors in the data. So all I can do is like this. I can pick up my data here. This part is CoPilot I'm telling you right now. I'll tell you without the CoPilot after this. So CoPilot requires me to save my data on the net, for example. So I'll save it on the net first of all. That goes on OneDrive. As I open CoPilot over here, for example, CoPilot is an AI tool for Excel by Microsoft for Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. It is an AI tool for Excel, Word, and PowerPoint.
I click 6, it is making as product here, right? Like after sum, if I say 6, it's product.
So we have aggregate over here.
Yeah.
So I go for the sum in this case, press the tab key here. Press the tab key here. That's 9, comma. We see the options over here. All are ignore options. All are ignore options. I go to 6th option here. Ignore error values. Ignore error values here. That's number 6. So first is the function I want to apply. Aggregate open bracket, I want to apply a function. That's a sum function I need to apply over here. Press tab key to complete the function number, which is 9. Then we try to work with the ignore. What do you want to ignore in that case? To ignore, I can go for ignore error values in this case. Apply this over here. Number 6, comma, pick up the data set here like that and apply that over here. Close the bracket. That is what we need to apply. So please try that.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, that gives me the aggregate function. So in this case, there can be a misconstrue of the data. For example, I might not know that there are some errors in the data. One is I can highlight that using conditional formatting, which is why I mentioned over there, we have to have conditional formatting as part of my learning, for example. So to apply that, what can CoPilot help me with? So I can tell CoPilot to work on the data set available over here. It's taken F21 to J32 automatically because my selection was here. And then I press this autosave on. Whenever I press the autosave on, if my data is in some part of the table, it will detect the table and show me the table selection over here. So I can now go here, for example, and say, highlight errors in the data. That's a CoPilot working for me. That's an AI tool by Microsoft. I am working with it. I'm trying to say highlight errors in the data. Enter. And it has highlighted that. Shown me an example. That's the function applied. I say apply. Okay, fine. Now, if I want to see what is the rule it has applied, I can go there. Home tab, formatting, manage rules. And the rule applied is this one. Is error F22. F22 is right over here. That's our F column here. Starting from here, F22 like this over here. Okay, so let me show that to you. Control F1, that's a ribbon band. I can then go to condition formatting, pick up the manage rules option over here, and then display this option over here. Edit rule, for example, and that tells me this is the rule that's applied over here. Okay, and that's the color that is applied.
Did you get to CoPilot?
To get CoPilot, I have to go to 365 subscription first of all. I can then go to office.com. Office.com is a website of Microsoft. I can then go and pay the fee and subscribe from there. It's a paid version.
Okay.
Hey, you know, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training. That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands-on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features: bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in-house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
If you create an account in Microsoft by going to this particular site over there, office.com again, for example, once I sign in, is a fresh account, which is a Gmail account or a Hotmail account, doesn't matter. Once you sign in over here, for example, you get a lifetime subscription of entire MS Office on the net. Like when we go to Gmail, I have the access to Google Sheets also, Google Docs also, only by the Gmail account. Likewise in Microsoft, whatever account I connect my sign in with, the email account, for example, once I go into this, I get the access to host of other features which are there. For example, let me show you. So that was the first screen I had to show you. The second screen looks something like this. After I subscribe, for example, it shows something like this, and I get the access available. So once you have the access available, that's a lifetime access. In my case, I've even bought the services. So in my case, access is different, but you will find CoPilot somewhere here. This is the one, CoPilot here. You can use this CoPilot free of cost once you subscribe inside that. In case you want to purchase, you can do this option. In case you don't want to purchase, you can keep it off, and you have the access to Sheets and your other apps available here. Sheets and Docs and Mails over here. You can always create the account here. This is completely free of cost by Microsoft over here. And you can get, finally, you might not get the CoPilot access right away. Once you go into the account, close the account, come back again, start using, you go to the apps over here. And within that, you will find the CoPilot also You can search one also, and you'll find CoPilot somewhere here. And once you get that over there, you can access that. Once you access that and start using it, it will start showing you right in the panel over here. In my case, it's a bought out version, so it's available by default in this case. So we got to purchase it over there. It's a yearly purchase, so I've done my yearly purchase in this case. That's where you can get the feed of CoPilot available over there. And then you get it installed in this case. And here I can apply my other instruction over here. So I can say highlight. So I'll say undo now, undo over here. Clear. I can further ask, for example, highlight. The prompts have to be built up further on the AI tool that we use in that case. And as we progress on that, we realize, okay, we need a rich prompt to apply. So highlight errors in the data using fill color as orange and font color as black. This time I'll give my instruction myself in this case. It'll still do the same job and get the highlight available. See, that's orange. If I apply that now, it will work with this option available over there. And if I undo that, it is gone. So I can simply go to any data if that is there or not. I'm trying to tell you that if that is there or not, you can simply go to the data there. The column which you think contain the errors, you can start from there. Suppose this doesn't contain the error. There will be no error here at all. But these might contain the errors. I can make a selection like that. Go to condition formatting. New rule. That's my start cell. For example, G22 is my start cell. So I can go here. Go to the formula. You can follow me now. In this case, you can follow me because you might not have CoPilot with you. You can follow me here, please. So make a selection like that. For example, in the case of condition formatting, we don't have to apply the headers. We don't need the headers in that case. Yeah, so we got this over here. Having done that, we can go to formatting and apply new rule. We can then go here and try to go to formula over here. We can then go to is error. Starting cell is G22 in my case. You can just take yours. Write G22 there, no $ applied. I'll copy and show the error to you separately also. Go to the format over here. That's the fill color I've chosen. From format option, fill color I've chosen over here. That's the format that shows as a preview. And then I click OK in this case and see that is highlighted. In case I have a copy here, for example, which is a mistake here. Suppose I apply something, for example, uppercase of some data, and I make a mistake of writing uppercase like that. Some data somewhere, for example, is used. Suppose from here, that's a mistake. It shows a name error. If the mistake is in the name of the spelling, then the name error appears in this case. And you can see it is highlighted promptly over here because condition formatting is applied over there. There's a mistake in the spellings over here. It's a mistake in the spellings over here. It's a name error. So you can see it is highlighting the error instantly in that case. So condition formatting can help us in identifying the wrong data in Excel. That is the way I can really approach my data, find out the mistakes in my data. In case I have to handle my mistakes myself, I can then look for the solution in that case. Otherwise, I can send my data to my team or the source from where the data has come to me and ask them to modify the mistakes in that case. So whatever data I need, for example, I have to make it sure that the data is clean and data is perfect for me. That is why I mentioned earlier that when we work in pivot table, we often identify the data correct in that case and then work with the pivot table. If it is not correct, we have to do the correction, then work with the pivot table. That's what we do normally. So that is one approach. That is one approach. Please try that and confirm that you're done. This is okay. That's how we can really identify the mistakes in the data. To create a report, my data should be first clean. So I'm trying to make my data ready first of all. That's what I'm trying to apply over here. Can you please confirm that you're done? Please try. I'm not in a hurry. We have time. So please try that. The function that I applied over here is this one. That is function applied. So this G22 has to be this particular cell where I'm starting. If I start from here, it should be F22. If I start from here, it should be I22. This cell will be without the lock, and this will be applied in the selection that we apply over here. Open that, new rule over here, and we apply that in the formula over here. This is the way. That's the place where the function goes. That's the place where the function goes. If I modify that again, for example, go back and check the rule in this case, double click on that, that's where the function goes. So please try that now. I can upgrade the summary of the data you're saying, something like that. I can also create a count of the errors over here, column wise, but I can give you support available, which is my next step only. So in case I got my entire data set available, I have to do it on every sheet individually. That is important, number one. Number two, once I do that identification of the errors over there, the second step is to find out how many errors are there. Filter can, of course, give me the errors over here. See, filters can be showing the errors over here. So all I can do is when I go to the filters, for example, Alt down arrow, Control Shift L. Control Shift L, Control up arrow, Alt down arrow, E for search. Suppose I can't see this list and the list is so big, I can't see the errors also. So I can press E for search, E for explore rather. E for explore, that goes to search box. I can type hash over here and press enter. Whatever errors are there, they will show me here like that. Clear? That's how it shows. Okay, that's how it shows the errors over there. The filters can be applied like that. If I want to count that, for example, that is a little bigger job. Let's do the count option also. So having done this part over here, I can see how to identify the errors over there. I'm clearing the filter right now. Applied that Alt down arrow, E for search, that is explore. As I press a hash over here, I can see these are identified over here. And I press enter to see my selection. That shows me the errors. Hash name also should show finally, but then Control Shift L, that clears over here. That's what we can see. It should show hash name also in this case, but that shows the error like that. So I can identify the errors like that. That shows. But how to count the errors, for example, in my entire spreadsheet, or I can go column wise also. Let us post this over here. This goes over here. We can work on that subsequently and try to find out that over here. So going further, for example, I can see condition formatting formula applied over there. This is the condition formatting formula applied over here to identify my error in this case. I have to count now. I have to count now. That's the formula for this place I told you earlier. Now see how to count the errors. Let me tell you how to count the errors. Is error. Let me tell you the difference between is error and error also. If I say equal to is error, for example, and find out the error over here. No error. I apply that over here. One error here. One error here. Look at this once again. If I try that on this particular cell, but not here, I try that here. In place of that, I try H over here. That's that cell. Enter. So I double click that. You can notice that it doesn't identify the NA error. Because NA is a good error. Yes, NA is a good error. If I have the NA error, that means my function is fine. My data might be missing. My function is almost fine. And if you notice in this case, and I try this over here, for example, and find this, it says checks error, whether a value is an error other than hash NA, and returns true or false. But if I go for is error over here, checks whether a value is an error and returns true or false, which is why it was using is error over here. So it can highlight all the errors correctly in this case. So it can highlight all the errors. So is ERR is basically the error identifier without the NA option in that case. It doesn't identify the NA option in that case, NA error in that case, but is error identifies all of these. So I'll pick up this over here, pick up this over here, and apply that and copy that here. And I can see this is an error and this is an error. And suppose I copy this part over here, it is containing this also an error. Now consider this once again, please try that over here. If there's an error, it's a true value. If there is no error, it's a false value. That's what we can see in this case. I'm going step by step over here. I could have given you the right function directly also, but I'm trying to go step by step in this case. So if I go here, for example, I can find is equal to, if for example, it is an error. If, for example, is error, this time there's a change, please be careful. If I say is error on the entire data I'm saying, entire column, 10,000 rows, 5,000 rows, no problem. Pick up entire column in that case. Then say like this. If there's an error somewhere in my data, so this particular part will give me, if you make a selection like that, you will see that. If you make a selection like that, you will see that it will display. So it displays what's the error over here. I can see true here. Once again, it's a true here and the true here also, and the true here also, 3 places. So I am trying to say that when you try to combine the entire column with the errors over here, I can say convert that to 1 or 0 and place it like that. This is the way it shows. So all the true values are converted to ones over here. So what I've got here is something like this. You can please try this now. This one also can be for the entire column for that matter. Is error for the entire column like that. Is error, entire column, and you can see the same answer. Yeah, please.
I got like zeros and ones for the first attempt. How do I get false and true?
Like this. You get it like this.
With the same formula, I'm getting 0 and 1, not true or false.
Okay. You can still try to apply this also so that the interpretation finally happens like that. Should be giving true or false directly in that case. Sometimes it gives you the other part also. Do you know about your Excel? Are you in the insiders Excel? Do you know about this, what I'm saying right now?
Yeah.
Are you part of insiders Excel? So that way it will show me this part over here. Nevertheless, you can try this once again and try to have this option available. We need this option to count the errors. Once I apply that over here, what I can do is I can just try to copy my entire function like that. Control C to copy that. Escape, go out and try this over here. For example, equal to sum. Control V to paste it over here and close the sum here. And we see there are 3 errors in the data. I can copy that and paste across and find these errors, 1, 2, and 3 errors. This is not the total of these errors. They are errors. That's why they're showing it like that. I post one more over here. That's 1 error. That's 3, and that's 3. So this one is finally this what I'm trying over here. That's what I'm posting over here in these columns ahead. I can post a combined one also, but I can then get my column-wise answers available over here. I can get my column-wise answers available here to make my data clean. In that case, I need to identify what is my mistake in the data.
Yeah. How you copy that formula? If S error in M21, how do you copy it? Just the formula itself?
Yeah. I can open the formula like that. Shift up arrow makes a selection. Control C to copy that. Then press escape. I can copy from here also like that. Control C to copy that. Then press escape. Go to a new location. Write a single quote. Write a single quote and Control V to paste it. Enter. Alternatively, in case you've got the function available, you can try like this also. Equal to formula text. I've got this function available. Formula text is a function to display the formula in the text form. Formula text is a function to display the formula in the text form. So I can go click a cell which contains the formula. In the function formula text, I can go to a cell which contains the formula and close the bracket. I'll see the same answer that I saw earlier. But this might not be with every computer in that case. Therefore, the answer is single quote and then paste over there. That way you can display the formula. Very good option to give a documentation to my junior who's taking my role, and I'm going on to the new role for that matter. And I have to submit my file to that person to understand the file properly. So complex function would be difficult to understand. I can copy my complex function somewhere outside and then write a comment on that how the function works. So it's a very good option available for documentation purpose available there, so that the other person who reads my file can understand how the function is done for that matter, and I can apply that. in the training, it's much useful because somebody must be trying this one or this one, trying to see how the functions are applied. So I make it a point to display all my functions in the training. That's how we can display. So these are the way errors can be displayed in my data. And once I know the errors, I can obviously modify my errors. If I'm not competent to modify the errors completely, I can send the data to the source, ask them to create the solutions and send the file back to me. I can verify that again. I can also give a combined one function like this. Look at this. So I can say equal to sum, for example. I can say if, I can say is error. I can then pick up my entire sheet for that matter, whatever my table is from here to here, complete table for that matter, close the bracket, comma 1, comma 0, close if, close sum, and the total errors are 7. 3 plus 1, 4 plus 3, 7. Total errors are 7. So I can find that over here in this manner. So this goes here, and this goes here. So I can display entire sheet errors in one shot also. This way, I don't know which column contains the errors, but this way I know which column contains the errors. That is what I can find out over here. So that can be tried, please.
For the sum, if, and is error, were you able to get that with a single formula, or did you copy the text?
What sets ZaranTech apart in SAP corporate training? It's our unique blend of expertise and innovation. We offer customized courses tailored to each client's needs, ensuring relevant, targeted learning. Our vast trainer database brings you wisdom from the best in the field. Need resources? Access our extensive training material repository anytime. We are all about measurable results, providing detailed student metrics to track progress. And we don't just teach, we build community. Join our thriving social media network, connecting learners beyond boundaries. With ZaranTech, you are not just training, you are transforming your SAP expertise.
That's with a simple single formula,
Oh, how did we do that?
like this.
Oh.
Equal to formula text.
Wow.
Go to the cell that contains the formula, apply that over here, close the bracket like this. So that's how we can highlight the errors and find the errors. Now we know two things over here. Number one, how to highlight the errors. So one shot I can get the display available, which highlights my errors. And second shot, I can get my count of the errors available over here. I want to shift the data down like that. I can just say Control Shift plus R for row, enter. The entire data shifts down like that. So that my main data is quite separated because this got shifted down over here. I'll then push it up over there and clear that. How do I clear that in one shot? I can clear the borders, values, everything in one shot. How can I do that? Let me show you. Suppose I've got this data set available somewhere here. Copy. That's the kind of a data over here, for example. I got to clear the data. If I do that like this, for example, delete, then I try the borders. I try the color. I think I'm done, but I'm not really done. If I go and check this over here, I see it's still in bold. There's a mistake over there. So Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, like that. So Excel has got some attributes available, like we studied in school also. Properties, attributes, chemicals, materials, there are some attributes. Excel has got the attributes available. For example, these are the attributes. Cell attributes. You can have a value in a cell, formula in a cell. Then we can have border. We can have color. We can have link. And we can have style. Style is bold, italic, and so on. These are the attributes of Excel that we can have there all the time. If you want to erase all attributes over here, I can do one shot answer in that case. Erase all attributes is something like this. So that is Alt plus E, then double A. That's the option. Erase all attributes is Alt E double A. Erase all attributes Alt E double A. So if I try that here, for example, like this, Alt E double A, it's gone. If I try and check this now, it is normal. See, it is normal. So one short answer for the entire data clearing. Erase all attributes. One short answer for data clearing in that case. That is what I did here when I tried to clear the borders over there. I rather depended on the shortcut erase all attributes. Everything is completely cleared. I might not be able to delete the column or the physical row over there because the data can be around somewhere in the spreadsheet. So it might not be possible to delete the entire column, entire row. In that case, physically delete from there. I have to delete the section of the data. This one is equal to this option, home tab, clear row. This is the same option. This is the same option that I told you just now. It's available over here, but the shortcut for that is erase all attributes. That is Alt E double A. So I hope that is done. That's how we can do it. And apply the data. That's my data checkpoint, for example. Apply the data check like that and work with the data set available there. Let's try to understand the data here. I've got the products available, which is my water company, for example, selling mineral water across, for example. That is what we can see in this case. Small units, medium, large, small units, and large again. So the distribution has been collected over here using some option there, like VStack in this case. So VStack is an array function. We've got some array functions in Excel. Array functions return multiple answers with one answer, with one check. If I apply a sum here, for example, what do I get? I get one answer. But if I apply this VStack over here, you can notice that if I go here, it forms a kind of a rectangle over here, indicating that that particular entire whole is covered by one function only. This entire set is covered by one function only. If I delete once over here, for example, entire set is gone. See, Control Z, I get it back. Therefore, when one function returns some multiple answers, then that function is an array function. Other examples are these. And so on. There's some more over there. These are the examples of array functions. So VStack is an array function because it can return multiple answers. There's a condition array function will not work everywhere. Let me tell you why. If I happen to give a serial number here, it might not appear correct in that case. Suppose I give the serial number here, assuming that my number is on the left side over here. Okay. If we give sequence over here, for example, so these are 11 records over here. If I write 1 and then 2 and then make a selection, I can make a selection like that and drag it down like that. Get that done over here. How can I center a line and apply the borders immediately for that matter? I'll tell you that after this. But important part is when I have a sequence here, for example, suppose that was here, assume that was there, okay? In that place, if I want to apply, for example, a sequence over there, it will very much work over there. Sequence 11, close the bracket, enter, we get the numbers available. So why do I have to press 1, then 2, then double click 1 and 2 together and get the numbers? I can get my sequence so easily like that. The point is, array functions cannot work in the table which requires sorting, for example. So if I applied my array function here, I should be very much sure that I don't have to sort my data again. Because if I sort my data again, then Chicago will appear somewhere here, Denver after that, Boston much above that, New York somewhere over here. That's what we'll see in that case. Because of that, sequence will go down with New York in this case. And because of that, sequence will start plotting the numbers out of the table because it will start from here. This is why when you try to apply the array functions as part of the table, you can't sort the table like this. If I go and sort the table now, for example, it stops me. You can't change part of an array. But if I apply a sequence number directly in that case, for example, like this, 1, 2 in selection, then apply that over here, double click. And now if I try to sort it over here like this, it sorts the data correctly. See, Boston, Chicago, Denver, everything is fine. How could I sort it so fast and easy? I'll discuss that also with you. So the point is, when you try to work with the array functions, you can work with the array function, but if you try to combine the array function with the table available there, then you can't sort the table. I cannot sort the table. That's important to realize over here. So I'm closing on this part available here by using what function? The shortcut Alt-E-AA. Alt-E-AA, one shot answer for my clearing the column in that case. I don't have to do number of times in that case. I can clear all my attributes in one shot in that case. That's a sequence function working your play in this case. It can work something like this, equal to sequence, say 10, for example, I get 10 numbers here. If I say 10,000, for example, I get 10,000 numbers over here. So sequence can give me instant numbers available there. Instant numbers available over there. That's what we can find. Let's close with 10 only to see the example that it is there. Next, I can try the array function. For example, we are going back to the other part also. Suppose I've got my data set available here. Normally what we do is, I'm just reading the example of array function, copy the data here, paste it over here, then apply the data, apply the remove duplicate option over here, and then work with this. Or I can try something like this. Let's expand. Equal to unique, pick up the data here like that. That's a series. Close the bracket. Format is not copied, but the data is quite perfect. There we are. So unique function gives me the direct answer available there. In case I don't have to use this particular list with some kind of a table that is to be sorted, I can use it right away and apply something over here. Some kind of functions extra over here, like summary for that matter, apply that over here. So unique function is another function which can give you the array function. So we have got three examples over here. Number one, we saw VStack. Number two, we saw sequence. And number three, we have seen unique function here. There are three examples of array functions. Just to mention that, what is an array function? That's what I'm telling you. That's what the array function is for that matter. So those who've got the function can please try that over here right now. Unique is what will give you the unique answer available for the entire column. Sequence gives you numbers over here, and so on. Unique gives you unique values here. That is the data preparation that we're doing over here.